think we really were able to explain that well. The last paragraph that we learned. So even though technically we left off on page Ches by Ois Gimel, I would like to go back a paragraph to the third page of the Maamar, on page Zayin, the second paragraph on the page, line 14. And to the Rebbe is explaining over here in the Maamar to be able to understand the idea of Yehuda ato yoducha achicha. What is the idea that your brothers will praise you? So before that, he starts explaining the question that we had, Yehuda ato. Why does it say Yehuda you? The word ato is unnecessary. It doesn't say it by the brachos of the other shvatim. We know he's talking to Yehuda. It says Yoducha achicha. He's talking directly to Yehuda. What's this ato about? So he started explaining that ato, according to Kabbalah, goes on the sphere of Malchus, can go on the sphere of Chesed, can go on the sphere of Chachma. And he brings psukim as proofs of that from the Siddur. The proofs are from the Siddur. And then he explains it conceptually. That since Ato shows on Revelation, so Malchus, Chesed, and Chachma are all aspects of revelation. Malchus reveals into the worlds of Bri, Yitzir, Asiya, just like our speech reveals to someone else what I'm thinking or what I'm feeling, etc., etc. Chesed is something that's necessary. Chesed azul and kula yomin, for any hashpah to come down into the worlds, it needs to be first. Chesed goes along with all the days of the week. Chachma is the first sphere of the 10 spheres, and everything was created with Chachma, so therefore Chachma is also the level of Ato. Now, after establishing Ato as the level of Gilui, and therefore it can go on these different spheres, Yehuda is the ultimate level of Ato is going to come out now. And because he is the level of Ato, the true level of Gilui, that's why Yoduch Achecha. That's why Reuven, Shimon, and Levi, who were both older than him physically, but spiritually, Reuven, Shimon, and Levi represent higher spheres. Still in all, Reuven, Shimon, and Levi will be Yoducha, will be Batal, Haida, to Yehuda, who is Malchus. Why? Because of Ato. Because of in all the Giluyim of Ato, Ato of Malchus is a special and a greater level of Giluy, that because of that, Achecha, Reuven, Shimon, and Levi, the higher levels will be bottled to him. Let's see it inside, line 14, third page of the copies, page Zayin. V'zel Yehuda ato Yeducha Achecha. This is what it says, Yehuda, your brothers will have bittul before you. Though Yehuda refers to Spheres HaMalchus, like we learned earlier in the Maamar, and as in other Maamarim as well. And your brothers, we said, we brought from the Alter Rebbe in Torah Oir, that it's not referring to all the brothers, because all the brothers is not such a chiddush that Yeducha. The main chiddush of Yeducha, Achecha, the level that they have bittul, beyond reason, beyond understanding, that main chiddush is with Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. And they preceded him, they were born before him, and they are also higher than him in the spheres, higher than spheres HaMalchus. Mikol Makim, still in all, Yoducha Achecha, your brothers will have bittul before you. How come? Because of the special level quality of bittul that's in Spheres HaMalchus, Yehuda Ato. That's why it has to emphasize Ato Shubinyan HaGilui. In other words, by saying Yehuda is connected with Ato Gilui, that makes us and helps us understand why Yoducha Achecha. Why are your brothers having bittul to you? Because of the great Gilui that Malchus has. What is the great Gilui of Malchus? It comes down the worlds of Bri, Yitzir, Asiya. So now the Rebbe is going to ask, but didn't we say that the other spheres also have the level of Ata and Gilui and so on? Why are we so excited about the Ata of Yehuda of Malchus? This means though in the other spheres there's also the idea of Gilui. In other words, Reuven, Shimon, and Levi do not have to come on to Yehuda. They themselves, the higher spheres, have the level of Gilui as well. The Gilui that's in the higher spheres does not extend past where they are. It is still all internal. It's a Gilui within and within Atzilus and in their state and place. The level of Ata in the other spheres, the level of the Gilui in the other spheres is not comparable to spheres HaMalchus. That affects the revelation also in the worlds of Bri Yitzir Asiyah. That is the great power of Malchus, that it goes outside of its place, outside of Atzilus, and it reaches into Bri Yitzir Asiyah. Top of page Ches, like it's explained in Torah Oyer, in the section that says this is taken from the actual manuscript of the Alter Rebbe's own manuscript, his own writings of Maamarim. Rampin, the Midas, the spheres higher than Malchus, who Soif Oilmas Ein Sof. That is still the end of the worlds of the infinite worlds. So therefore it's still removed from creation. It's part of Oilmas Ein Sof. Malchus is Shoirish HaNivroim. Malchus, of all the 10 spheres, the last sphere, that is the root of all the created beings. So Malchus's Gilui is of a totally different caliber, its level of Gilui and its level of Ata, than any of the other spheres preceding it, because Malchus is the root for all creation. That's the idea that it says that by the Oren there were 2 Kruvim. It says Kruv Echad Mikotzim Mizeh. One Kruv was from this end, and the Kruv Echad Mikotzim Mizeh, and another Kruv was from this end. Simply put, one end of the Oren was one Kruv, another end of the Oren was the other Kruv. In Chassidus we explain it that the end of the Oren Sof, that's Zeir Anpin. So that's what it means, Kruv Echad Mikotzim Mizeh. It's the end of the Oren Sof. Kruv Echad Mikotzim Mizeh means the upper end. The upper end of the Nevroim is Malchus. So the Kruv Echad Mikotzim Mizeh means about how close they are to each other, actually not how distant they are. Just to give an example from something totally unrelated. Farshim speak about where it says that he reigned mehoidu v'ad kush. So there's an explanation that Hoidu and Kush are actually near each other. Still and all, they're considered the 2 ends of the world, because if you go the other way around, it's 2 ends. It's not directly the same thing, but the same thing over here. Kruv Echad Mikotzim Mizeh is Eir Anpin. Kruv Echad Mikotzim Mizeh is Malchus. But the main thing is, we see it's the Kotze HaElyon, it's the Shoirish HaNivroim, it's the root of the created beings. Therefore, the Ata of Malchus is so much more powerful and greater. And because of that, you have יודוך אחיך, line 5 after the parentheses. יודוך אחיך, that's what it says, that your brothers will have bittul before you, because the revelation in the worlds of Bri Yitzir Asiyah, that is why your brothers will have a bittul. Why? Fine, Malchus goes down to Bia. We don't. Okay, what's the big deal? Because through going down to the worlds of Bri Yitzir Asiyah, even Chachma is elevated through it. Though Chachma is the highest sphere and Malchus is the lowest sphere, by Malchus descending into Bia, it makes an elevation in all the spheres, even into the spheres of Chachma. How is that? So he explains in line 8, similar to what's explained in Tanya. The goal and the purpose of the chain descent of all the worlds. Not for the higher worlds. Since all these worlds, when they came into being, are really a descent from, even the world of Atzilus, a descent from the light of the Eibishter's face. So therefore, they had no reason to come into being. Rather, the reason why Olam Atzilus and all the worlds come into being is for our world to exist. Therefore, when our world comes into being, that makes the worlds prior to that fulfill their purpose. Otherwise, the creation of Chachma, the creation of Atzilus, the creation of Spheres would not have fulfilled its purpose. Only when it fulfills its purpose by having Malchus come down to Biyah, then they gain from it that they are now reached the pinnacle of their purpose and their existence. Through the fact that the revelations come down all the way to the world of Asiyah, so then also the world of Atzilus becomes elevated. Now, when we talk about the world of Atzilus, we know that the spheres are divided by the worlds as well. Chachma represents Atzilus, Bina represents Bria, the 6 Midas represent Yitzira, Malchus represents Asiyah. The level of the world of Atzilus and Spheres, whose Spheres are Chachma, is the sphere of Chachma. So when we say that Olam Atzilus becomes elevated through the Yerida into the world of Asiyah, so that means that the sphere of Chachma as well becomes elevated. So the sphere of Chachma, which is the level, also a level of Ata, needs to come on to the Ata of Malchus. And that's why יודוך, Achiך, all the spheres higher will praise and will have bittul, because all the spheres that are higher gain from Malchus, because Malchus is finally helping them fulfill their mission and their purpose, which is that there should be a lakus in the worlds of Biyah, and especially, like he's soon going to explain, the world of Asiyah. So that is the reason why he has to say Yehuda Ata. Because of Yehuda Malchus' level of Ata, of the revelation, that's why יודוך, Achiך. That's why your brothers, the spheres that are higher than you, are bottled to you. Even though they're higher, they're still bottled. Just like physically, even though they were born before. And normally, according to one opinion, the younger brother has to give honor to all the older brothers, but in this case, things are turned around because of the special function that Malchus has, that he illuminates and he's mamshich into the lower worlds. Any questions before we go on? Okay, let's continue now where we left off yesterday on Ois Gimel. And we said that the pasuk continues, Mamshech b'Kosov continues in the pasuk, Yodcha ba'orev oivecha, your hand is in the neck of your enemies. And we want to know what is the connection between the fact that even once your enemies turn their back to you, you're still chasing after them, you're pursuing them, and you attack them, you have your hand in their neck. So how is that connected to the first part of the pasuk, Yehuda Ati יודוך, Achiך? The idea behind this is the Yehuda Ata, because of the quality and advantage of Yehuda Ata, the level of Malchus, יודוך, Achiך, because of that, even the spheres higher than Malchus are bottled to it. Yehuda Ata indicates the revelation, the worlds of Biyah, like we said before. But amongst that itself, within the revelation and Biyah, what is the main thing? What truly fulfills the purpose? The primary thing is the revelation, the world of Asiyah specifically. That in the world of Asiyah there is nothing below that world. In the world of Asiyah we effect a home for the Eibishter down here below. How is that affected? They have avoided this kafi v'sapcha through the avoid of sublimating klippa, subjugating klippa, coercing klippa, and transforming klippa. So that's why, because klippa only exists in olam ha'asiyah, that's the primary place of its existence, and that's where we have the great challenges. So the main thing of Yehuda Ata is where there is oivecha, where there is the enemies, as we'll soon explain, the level of this physical world where we have to make a home for the Eibishter. Like it's explained in Tanya, so it arose in his will. Top of page test, there should be a delight and a pleasure before the Eibishter. Where is there and how is there a delight before the Eibishter? When the Sitra Achra becomes sublimated and darkness is transformed to light, because it says that the light of Hashem will shine in the place of darkness so much more powerfully, and there will be the extra and excess light that comes out of darkness. This idea of darkness being transformed and the extra light that comes from the darkness is only applicable below. Not the world of Atzilus, because in the world of Atzilus, bad doesn't dwell over there. And the truth is, even in the spiritual worlds of Bri Yitzir Asiyah, where the bad is not intermingled with the good, and so on, so it's not so much this idea of the transformation as there is in our world. That's the idea of your hand, is in the neck of your enemies. Who is the enemy? Klippa, Sitra Achra. So the Rebbe goes on to elaborate what we had recently in Tanya, Shepirushay, the meaning of the other side, Sitra Achra, Tzad Acher, She'ena Tzad HaKedusha, another side that is not the side of holiness. The Tzad HaKedusha, Ashra, V'amshachim, Kedusha, Shachadosh Baruch Hu, the side of holiness, is the residing and the drawing down from the holiness of the Eibishter. Sheshoyr al davar Shabbat Leslie is Baruch. It resides and rests upon something that is nullified to the Eibishter. Like every single Jewish person down here below is an example of a place where the Kedusha of the Eibishter resides. Why is every Jewish person down here below an example of a place where the Eibishter resides? So the Alter Rebbe in Tanya says, the fact that he has within himself that power, that capability to be completely bottled to Hashem, even and to the degree where it would involve sacrificing one's life for the Eibishter, so that means he is a place where the Kedusha of the Eibishter resides. That is an ongoing, present bittul that only needs to manifest, but it's always there. Therefore, the Kedusha of the Yid is always there. How do we see that he's always ready to do so? Maamar do like the very well-known saying, Ayid niter will, niter ken sein abgerussen von alle Kurs Ayid. Neither does he want nor is he able to be torn away from godliness. Therefore, anything that tears him away from godliness, that is his enemy. What is an enemy? An enemy goes against who I am and what I represent. That's the true idea of an enemy. Since what do I represent? What does a Yid represent? Bittul to Hashem, connection to Hashem, Kiddush of Hashem. Klip is called Sitra Achra, the other side, that which is not bottled to Hashem. So therefore, automatically, by its very nature, Klippa and a Yid, Klippa to a Yid is an oyev, is an enemy. So now that we've established that Klippa is called an enemy, so now we can explain the pasuk. Concerning this, it says, Yodcha, your hand is in the neck of your enemy. The oidef ein is gal sakoich sapnimim, that the neck does not have the revelation of the inner soul powers. Meaning, the neck in Chassidus is always referred to as the opposite of the face. The face has the sense of sight and the sense of hearing and the sense of the power of speech, etc., etc. It has the intellect resides in the head. The neck is the total opposite. The neck has no life that it gives off. What does that mean in avoida? In avoida, that means a service that's done without vitality, without energy. In the service of Hashem, the neck represents the idea of sublimating and subjugating. He has no desire, he has no will, he has no passion to be involved with the opponent. Like we know that when a person needs to give something to an enemy, he gives it to him over their back, meaning from the neck. The neck indicates a type of interaction that's below lev without any type of heart and emotion and excitement and interest whatsoever. So he continues in Oizdala, Yehuda ata יודוך אחיך. That's what it says. Yehuda, your brothers will be bottled to you. Your hands are on the neck of your enemy. The connection between the two is as follows. Through the revelation of Ata, which is Malchus, the level of Yehuda, all the way into the worlds of Bia, until especially this low world of Asiyah. Why is the revelation there? To affect the idea of the sublimation of the clip at top of page Yud. So then, as we said before, now there becomes an elevation in all the spheres. Also in the sphere of Chesed, which is also called Ata, and also in the sphere of Chachma, which is also called Ata, and it becomes such a great Ilui that we reach a totally other and above everything level of Ata that I didn't mention before. Till through this we arrive to the true idea of Ata. What's the true idea of Ata? Higher than the three levels of Malchus, Chesed, and Chachma that we previously explained are called Ata. What level of Ata do we reach? Through Yehuda's dealing with the enemies in the way of Iskafi and so on. That's the level of Hashem's essence. Amitis Ametzias, the true being. And like we're soon going to explain, only the true being, the true existence, we can say on it Ata, because it's ever present and always there in front of us. It's never hidden. It's always and everywhere around. Like the Rambam wrote, he is the only one that's true, and there's no other that's as true as his truth. All existences did not come into existence only from his true being and existence. So therefore, as we can explain, he is the true level that can be called Ata. Let's explain in Torah that this level of Atzmus, the Amitis HaMetzias, the fact that Hashem's name is always on everybody's lips. We always say Baruch Hashem, thank you Hashem, etc., without even thinking. It's not a meditation aspect. It's not a matter of emotions. It's something we just blurt out, meaning because it's ever present with us. Even children know about Hashem and talk about Hashem without understanding, without knowing anything, because this is so ever present within us and around us. This idea that the Eibishter's presence is so present everywhere is not the level of Hashem's revelations. In the revelations of Hashem, like the Ein Sof, there was the idea of constriction, that Hashem limited himself, constricted himself, hid himself away, starting with the Tzimtzum Rishon, the great Tzimtzum, that he put it all on the side, and he brought down a small line. All the revelations are only a ray, it's not the essence. As opposed to Hashem's essence, that is the true existence. So now, Based on this, we will be able to understand why Atzmus is the true Ata, the ultimate Ata. V'lechein al hanimtzoim, therefore all existences, loy shayich loy mar Ata. It's impossible to truly say you, because there are changes and there's differences, and it can be here, not there. It's an Atzilus and not in Bia, and so on. It's not always in a state of Ata. It's not always B'loshen Noichach. It's not always in our presence. Only when we see in the existences reflected the true idea of Hashem's true being in existence, so then, when we manifest and we see and we recognize the Ata in different aspects of existence, then we could connect to the level of Atzmus. What enables us to see Atzmus in all existence? That is through the Ata of Yehuda Ata, the level of Malchus coming down into Biyam. 16. V'lezeh, to the level of reflecting and seeing the true existence of Hashem in the world, we come to that avoida ba'ofen shel Yehuda Ata v'goymer, through the avoida of Yehuda Ata, through that we reach to the true level of Ata shemizgala b'chochma. The original place where Ata becomes revealed is actually in Chachma. How do we see this? So there's a famous thing in Perek Lamed Hey in Tanya, K'meshakosu b'Tanya Perek Lamed Hey ba'agol, like it says in Tanya chapter 35 in the note. Kasher Shamati v'Moed El Vashalom, the Alter Rebbe says, as I heard from my master, meaning the Mezritcher Magid, She'ein Soif Baruch Hu Echad Ha'em Shu Levadei Hu Vein Zela. So the infinite light, or the infinite Eibishter, is the one truth, that he is the only thing and there's nothing besides him. All the other existences do not take away from who he is. V'zui madregas ha'chochma. Chochma is the one that manifests and recognizes the entirety of everything being just Atzmus. So that Ata of Chochma, which manifests the Ata of Atzmus, is through the Ata of Malchus manifested in the world. Until we come to the fulfillment of what was foretold, that Shilei will come. Shilei is going on Mashiach, and to him the nations will gather and collect, which is a higher level than battling enemies. Not just in the way of your hands in the neck of your enemies, which we said before is the level of subjugating and sublimating your enemies, but rather they will gather to you. That's more than the idea of iskafia. And rather in a way that they will totally become nullified. Become transformed. In other words, to a level of ishapcha. In other words, the level of Yehuda, the level of Ata, the level of Melech HaMashiach, which is from Yehuda, will reach from the iskafia of Yodcha Ba'iref Avecha to be the higher level of V'lo Yikas Amim, that it says also in the bracha about Mashiach, who's descended from Yehuda. As Yikuy Mashakosov, then it will be fulfilled what it says, that foreigners, meaning non-Jews, will stand and they will bring your sheep out to graze, which shows on the level of Ishapcha, not just Iskafia of Yod Chabayr Fevecha, but be as Mashiach Tzidkenu, because of Mamish, in the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu, speedily Maamar.